All right, everybody. Welcome to the fourth episode of our Game of Thrones After Show. My name's Matt, and above me is Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan. And
He's
to
number
the
2 in the United States in
the
H1Z.
guy on the side of me, I always mess it up, is
Other side. Other side.
over there is the other guy, Opie.
Hey, and the guy below me is Dave.
What's up, everybody? And
What's
there's
happening, guys?
Somebody to the right of me.
There's well, depending on how you're looking at it, I'm to your right. If I'm you. Because it's a squaw. Anyway, so we just finished watching Season 5, Episode 4 of Game of Thrones, and we got some notes, and we're going to talk about it. Dave, do you want to... Well, before we... Or not Dave, Dan, OP, whoever.
Not Dave. Don't have to name anything. Oh,
No, we just needed him here because otherwise we only have 3 and it's not a perfect square. Before we get through the before we start going through the episode, does anybody have any general thoughts about it?
Ooh.
Dan.
What? No one? Okay, well I guess I'll get started then.
This was a super intense episode. This is really, really, really good.
Was it?
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was very intense. I thought there were a lot of good things that happened in it, and there are a lot of tensions that have built, and some have exploded.
Well,
And then there were some nice touching moments. And then there was some Jon Snow touching moments of Melisandre. So there was just had all around touching and intensity, in my
And there were
opinion, in this
boobs.
episode.
There was lots of touching and there was lots of moments.
There was lots of
Some of those were touching moments.
right.
Yeah, so I just thought it was just like all the rest of them that we've seen so far this season. More chess pieces moving around, more setup.
Or being smashed with big hammers.
Yeah, well, I just, because the first 4 episodes leaked a while back, and from what I've heard, this was a big episode, and I just didn't see it. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't. I just didn't think it was any different than.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. There was a couple things that were kind of like, oh wow, but I mean, it wasn't from what everybody that I've been reading online and stuff saying that it was supposed to be like this epic episode. I'm sitting there. Maybe I expected too much because I was seeing all this, but to me, it was just meh.
I mean, except for the bit at the end, which we'll get to. But other than
Yeah,
that, it was
yeah.
Okay, so let's go through it, and Dan, help us out, help us understand, because you know what? Because I probably missed a lot. So
Okay, so here we go. Let's go down. I can't believe that. Wow, you guys. Whew. So let's start off with the old man at the sea. He's bringing his boat in, and old Jorah Mormont punches him in the face.
club punched him.
He just straight up jacks him, steals his wallet.
I mean, I guess you could say he went
throws-
Grand Theft Auto.
Slashes his tires
Right.
at the
He
phone
is.
line.
He ate the dude and
He
stole
straight
his car.
up threw his little person that he's collected into the boat and started sailing on for better waters.
Gotta catch 'em all, Tyrion.
Yes, it was Tyrion that he threw in the boat. So we move there, we get to a bigger boat. So it kind of pans to a giant boat. And then we get Jaime and Bronn, and they're discussing some things. And they're talking a little bit about saving the princess. And Bronn's kind of like, why are you still playing this game like this is your niece? We all
Yeah, I
kinda
did like
know,
that.
Kind
bro."
of gave him the suit.
Yeah.
He kind of gave him like, okay, we're bros, right?
Yeah, he's like,
Cool.
dude,
It's cool.
I'm fine with. I've been training you in swords. Seriously, man. I know
We're
it's
sword
okay.
bros.
I
Sword
got it.
bros.
Right, because he also makes the post like, "Oh, we're doing all this to get your
Forget I hung out with
niece
my brother.
back."
Like, you know.
Right. But Jamie does say a few things there. Braun asks him, your sister must be really ticked off at you for releasing your brother like that. And then Jamie's like, no, Varys released my brother. And then kind of is like, he killed my father, and I'm gonna split him in half.
Yeah.
Just like, wow.
He killed my
Jamie.
father, prepared to die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
was-
think Jamie's so ticked off about that, but
Well,
whatever.
Wait. Okay, so let me ask you, is he upset about it? I thought it was just all an act with Braun.
That's what
No.
I thought. I thought it was an act with him. as
No,
well,
he's
because-
upset. Jamie had a decent relationship with his dad, even though he still didn't care for his dad that much. He didn't want to be part of King's Landing.
I don't
But
disagree, but that's okay.
I think, he's
I'm
pretty
with
ticked
Opie
too.
on that.
Okay.
I think it's a big.
I think none of the Lannisters' children like their dad. I'm just going to put that out there.
I don't
from
think
what
any of the
I've
Lannisters like any of the other Lannisters.
seen.
I think they all hate each other. Like the worst
I don't
family
know.
reunions ever.
I don't know. I think he was kind of getting along with Tyrion there towards the end when, right before Tyrion killed his old man.
Well,
Yeah.
Jaime's the only one that's defended Tyrion.
Yeah.
But Tyrion did kill his dad, and Jaime's not had a bad relationship with his father. His father tried to make him the leader of Castle Rock, and he said, "No, I'm a Kingsguard. That's where I'm
Yeah.
staying." But that's it. I mean, they've had their breaking parts, but it's still his father that he was killed. So we go from there. We go to the council at King's Landing, and Cersei pretty much says, "Hey, Tyrell, I need you to like get out of the council. So you're annoying me, and I don't like your family at all. So I'm going to send you across the sea to the Iron Bank, try to work out some funding things there, maybe move some accounts around, pull out a couple CDs, maybe move some stuff over in some mutual funds. Do what we can. Let's do some things there.
Let's get it early on some IPOs.
And it goes from there where the High Sparrow and Cersei are speaking, and she starts talking about arming the militant again, which was something that happened centuries ago for their sect. And she's saying, well, let's bring that back. Because Cersei wants an army behind her, and
Yeah,
she's trying to make an
absolutely.
alliance with the High
she doesn't
Sparrow.
really have. So, and that's what we talked about last week. She doesn't have a lot of power anymore. So she's got to have somebody. So I did think that whole bit was a good part of this episode. I wrote down that the sparrows are a cult.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's Majin sparrows now. They're Majin. They have the engraved.
So that goes into the next
building
part where
weapons.
the sparrows just say, you know what? We're just taking everything out that's evil.
Yeah.
We're just going to destroy all the stuff right now.
and now we have swords to do that.
yeah, we have the right to do it now, and the gold cloaks are kind of turning their backs and not helping out the merchants and all these people dealing in the black markets and the dark ways. So the sparrows go around breaking casts, destroying markets, tearing up brothels. Yeah.
Wow. And
So,
castrating
right.
people.
Oh, yeah. So
And
let me
then
ask
the,
you,
go ahead.
so they were talking about rearming those guys, and then we see. So we're to assume that that's already happened, then, right? Like,
Yeah.
So
it was
it was
kind of a quick take to that.
Yeah. So they said, okay, we will rearm them, and then that is the result of.
So
them
you're
doing
watching
that.
a person being branded while all this is going on. So it's like
Yeah.
a passing of time kind of thing that's going on here. So it goes through that, the person being branded. But the big part is at the very end of all this destroying stuff, Sir Loras is arrested while he's training and locked up. And so Marjorie's like to Tommen, like, hey, that's my brother, yo.
Yeah.
What's up with this? Do something.
love-
You're my freaking king.
I
and you have
love
to
how
do
this show takes mother-in-law, wife arguments to a different level. It's like,
Right.
seriously, God, can't you do anything? And he's like, well, it's my mom, you know.
Yeah.
I can't-
something.
she's gonna come over, you know, and she's gonna call. I'm sorry, she commented about the laundry
She's
in the
gonna
floor.
start a whole nother army to fight you. You
Serious.
don't understand. My mom is crazy.
Oh,
My
God.
man.
That is
So-
that is true. I mean, like, you think your wife and mother nagging at you is bad. I mean, they could be in control of an entire kingdom and threaten to kill people. And
Right. So you go there, Marjorie's talking to Tommen like, hey, go get my brother out. This was one of the intense moments where he has to stand before the sparrows. And Tommen is a nice kid. He's not a bad guy. He's a nice guy. And he wants to do what's right. But he's also not very authoritative. And so he gets there, and there's that intense moment there.
Well, what is
between
he,
the two.
10?
Well, yeah, he's supposed to, I think he's playing 16 now or
yeah,
something.
I don't know.
And he's standing before those guys, and he has the commoners that are sitting down there making remarks about him, things like that. And he doesn't want to start a riot. Then his wife's all up in his face, and then his mom's all up in his face,
Yeah,
and
it's
he's just
"Can't
like,
catch a break."
I'm
I
just going
did-
to the king's game room, and I'm playing Xbox.
Yeah,
with
listen, I'm gonna put on my
This-
headphones.
yes,
and
yeah.
just, I'm gonna
Yes,
play some
do
Call of
your
Duty.
thing.
I did write down a note that just basically says Tommen, worst king ever, because he's just and it's
He's not a terrible. He's just not.
He's a kid.
He's a kid, and he can't. He
But
wants
he's a
to do what's right, but he doesn't want to start a riot in the middle of the street. So it's hard for him to make that decision right there. And his mom's playing off that, which is pretty much using him, knowing that he's a nice kid, knowing he won't do anything about it, and his mom's kind of in charge again, kind of thing. Which I cannot wait until somebody like stabs Cersei. That'd be great.
And then she leaves and totally cuts him off. He's like, "Can you come back later?" And he's like, "No, sorry."
He's like,
Not gonna get any.
hey, Marjorie, you're pretty hot. Can you come back? Like,
Right, yeah,
can you
she
come
walked-
back by a little while?
It's like,
Seriously,
No.
baby, am I gonna get any booty tonight?
Seriously,
Whoa,
Marjorie.
No, I've got a headache. I've got
Yes.
to my
I
grandmother.
gotta talk to him.
I'm going to my grandmother's
I'm gonna
house.
wash my
Yes.
hair.
Right. So we go from there, which I thought that was a really good part. I like that whole
Yeah, that was a
thing.
good part. That was a good
really
part.
intense all through that. You go from there, then you go to the wall. It jumps up there where John is out teaching, and Stannis is speaking with his wife about their daughter and how she should have given him a son, and he's like, blah blah blah, whatever. Your daughter shouldn't be here. Stuff like that.
I did like that he said it's not your fault, because he was when we first were introduced to his wife a few seasons back. I just got the feeling that he didn't much care for her, or that he actually was upset that he didn't get a son. But I mean, I like that the fact that he seems like he's not. I don't think Stannis is such a bad guy. Actually,
No, he's a guy that's one of those stick to it guys. Whether it's good or wrong, he just does. This is the law. There's no gray area for him. It's black and white. That's it.
And because I like Stannis, and I do feel bad for him, because if you go back to freaking the other
The freaking
The
King
guy with-
Baratheon, his brother.
yeah. Robert Baratheon.
Robert Baratheon. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you go back, if you go all the way back, and stop at Robert, and then when he died, technically Stannis is the true heir to the throne.
Right. Right.
But so I feel bad that he was kind of gypped out of it. I mean, obviously, if you go back before Robert, then Robert really wasn't the right heir to it either. But I mean, Stannis should have it, and he doesn't. So he's just trying to get it back. I mean, I feel like he's just not such a bad dude. He's just trying to get.
Right.
He's just trying to get what's his.
Right.
What should be his.
So they're talking, they leave. Melisandre comes out. They talk about the March on Winterfell. That's the next move for them. It goes from there. It goes to John and Sam. He's signing documents to get more people to come up. He doesn't want to sign the document to Bolton, even though he's the Warden of the North. He's like, no, I don't like that guy. That guy killed my brother. He's like, but we need people. It's like, all right, I'll sign it.
What were those papers you signed?
To get people
Yeah, recruiting.
from the different houses to send people to the wall. They don't have enough.
That's what I thought. But
Yeah. So it gets that, and old Melisandre comes sauntering in, and she's like, "Hey, we need your help south of the wall." And John's like, "No," and then she's like, "Here's my boobs." And
I need your help south here.
of thinking the same thing.
So
Mark,
March south.
we get
John,
Melisandre
no.
boob, and John
Which,
and Melisandre are about
I'm
to have
okay
sexy
with.
time.
I mean,
John-
Melisandre, there's
Melisandre is one of those characters that just kind of came. I don't know. I've not read the books, but it seems like she just is like she's like a square peg in a round hole to me. It's just like I don't know what her deal is, and hopefully that'll come out.
I was wondering, is like she wants to get humped by John so she can make another smoke monster.
That's what I
I think that's what
Yeah,
she
yeah.
wanted. She wanted the power of John's seed to make super smoke monster.
Melisandre, I kind of think of her. She's like a bad penny in that she always turns up, but it's a rare bad penny that even though it's a bad penny, you're like, well, I kind of want to keep this because it's kind of nice to look
It's a
at.
buffalo nickel, right? You know?
But I just made the note: Jon Snow, two gingers.
That's true.
He's
He
managed
is-
to.
he is. And what did she say when she's leaving? You know nothing,
nothing,
Jon
Jon
Snow.
Snow. Was there any significance to that? Like, did she know
Maybe she
that?
knew. I don't
mean,
know because that hit him awkwardly. He's like, "What? That's what my girl used to say all the time to me."
I mean, that's what I was thinking.
Jon Snow just sitting there going, "Am I really that stupid?
Yeah.
Why does everybody keep telling me that?"
He's like, I know stuff. I mean, like, I know how to fight
Yeah,
swords. and
shut
stuff.
up, Melisandre, and show me your boobs again.
Yeah.
So we go from there, and this was a really good part when Stannis is talking to his daughter. So
yeah.
she asks, are you embarrassed? I mean, are you proud of anything like that? And he goes through this whole story about how she got her disease because some merchant merchant brought a doll that had the poison on it that caused it. But you kind of see a different. And what ruined it was at the very end of the episode, they talk about that scene. Like, seriously, we were going to talk about that. You did that right there. But you see a different side of Stannis there, where he's like, I'm actually, yeah, you're my daughter. You're Stannis. You're Baratheon. I love you, and you're awesome. Pretty much.
She gives him a big hug, and he's standing there like, okay.
Emotions.
That's what I'm saying. Stannis is not a bad dude. I mean, I don't know if anybody thinks that he is, but I've just always kind of thought he was all right.
Well, he's just a hard man. He's just, you know, there's no breaking. But you get to see a little bit of that side when he hugs. Well, his daughter hugs him, and then he's kind of like, "Oh, hey, you." Pat her on the
Bring it
shoulder
in for the real thing here.
Let's do a firm handshake.
Right? Yeah. How about punch it in? Punch. Yeah. Just, blow it up, make it rain.
Like, there's cameras here. I can't.
Right, now we're gonna go out and kill someone. You just sit here. I'm gonna go stab somebody. So it goes from there, and you get to Sansa, and she's lighting candles in the tomb under Winterfell. Which, Matt, I guess last week it was Winterfell they were in. I thought they were at Moat Cailin, but I guess
no. They went through there.
Okay, all right. So they're at Winterfell. She's down in the tombs lighting candles to her ancestors, and you get to hear a little bit of the story of Lyanna, her aunt, that was married to Robert, or wanted to marry Robert, and she ended up getting killed. And it kind of tells the story.
Sister, right?
Yeah, and it kind of tells the story of kind of how the whole war started. So Lyanna is betrothed to Robert at the tourney, and then Rhaegar passes his wife and goes to Lyanna and pretty much kidnaps her and rapes her and takes her off. And that sparks Robert and all them to starting the war against the Targaryens. So it's kind of a little bit of the backstory there you get when Littlefinger's explaining all that too.
And forgive me, please, you guys here and people watching, I'm sorry, but help me out with Rhaegar.
Rhaegar Targaryen. You haven't met him. He's dead. He's gone.
Right, but
He wasn't the Mad King though.
No.
Okay. That's what
not
I was.
the Targaryen.
Right.
You're
Okay.
I think it was. I don't think. Maybe it is Rhaegar. That was the Mad King. I can't remember which Targaryen it was. It was the Mad King, and I think Rhaegar was his brother or a nephew or something. I don't know.
My apologies for not knowing, but I just if they're not on the, I have bad enough names with bad enough time with people on the show. If they haven't been on, I can't.
I think
Aerys Targaryen was the Mad King.
Okay. So it tells a little bit of the backstory there, which is kind of cool. So you get to, matter of fact, there was a lot of little parts that told backstories to everything, which was really neat. And I really like that in this one as well. So you get that little backstory. And then Littlefinger is saying, "Hey, I'm heading to King's Landing. Sorry about your luck. Stay with Ramsay." And she's like, "What?" And
Listen, I just got this text from Cersei.
God,
Totally,
blowing up myself.
She's blowing up myself.
She's blowing up my crow, and I can't get a word in edgewise, so I got to go down there. She's bugging me, and Sansa's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Cause," and she's like, "But things," and he's like, "Don't worry," and she's like, "Okay."
So listen, this dude's gonna get wiped out, and you're gonna step up. You're gonna be the
well, it's funny because he's
such an awesome used car salesman.
He is.
It's funny because he convinced Sansa that they needed to go to Winterfell, and she's like, "All right, whatever, let's go." The minute they get there, he's like, "Oh man, I just remembered I got a thing.
I left the oven on. I gotta go.
I got a
thing in King's Landing. I gotta go, but I'll be back. I'm totally coming back." And it won't be long.
Littlefinger could talk you out of your own house.
Yeah,
that's the way he does it. He just comes over. He's like, "And I live here now. You don't." Like, "Oh, my bad.
Oh, whoa, sorry.
I'm sorry. My fault." And then after he's like, "What just happened? Did he just stake everything I had?"
But I'll say again that I really am starting to like Sansa a lot. Like, she's getting stronger. Even though she's not where she wants to be, and she's getting involved in a marriage she doesn't want to be in and stuff, I think she's just biding her time. I mean, she's just soaking in information. I mean, she is learning. And Littlefinger said about learning from the best. She's learning from him. I mean, she's learning how to play the game, like we've said before. She is going to be like him. She's one who doesn't talk because she's too busy listening. And she's gonna.
Well, I wish she would just get you. I don't know. Sansa's story's kind of boring to me right now. I'm just kind of like, Sansa, just, okay, we get it. Okay, you didn't want to marry Ramsay. You fussed about that. Littlefinger talks you into doing that. Oh, you're leaving. I don't want you to go. He talks her into being okay. Just like, okay, now get some balls about you and play the game.
Well, I think that she is.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
hope
think-
so. She hasn't done it yet. I mean, she changed her hair color and put on a cool necklace, but still, she's Sansa. That's about all she's done. I'm hoping it gets to that point. I really do. But right now, her story's really boring to me.
Well, I hope something bad happens to Ramsay. I think it's going to. So.
I think so. Well, I was wondering if, a big showdown between Ramsay and Jon Snow, because when he was signing the papers, I don't know if that'll happen. I haven't read the books.
Yeah,
But
I'm still wondering what the hell's going to happen with dude that Ramsay screwed with.
Theon.
Great.
Greyjoy. Theon Greyjoy. I'm wondering what's going to happen with that dude, if he's going to like just finally step up and just start killing people.
Ooh, I think maybe that'll happen. Maybe Theon will kill Ramsay like at the end of the season. Maybe, I don't know.
Theon's still hunting for little Theon, and they parted, and they're no longer together.
No, see, that's what I'm saying though. I mean, now that Ramsay has Sansa there to take his attention off of Theon may, like, I don't know, go through therapy or something.
That's not the person I'm worried about. It's the chick that's been having sex with old Ramsay, getting all mad and jealous like on Sansa, and I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but
she was the one they showed her last week, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, one of them will go crazy. Who knows? So
you said Theon was still searching for little Theon.
Yeah.
I guess you could say he's not having much Greyjoy right now.
Get it? His last name's Greyjoy.
No.
Get it?
So moving on.
No, but because he's not happy.
You get back to Jamie and Braun.
So how about them Cubs?
If we just walk away from it, we'll be fine. So Jamie and Braun, we get back to Dev. They're talking about how they want to die, blah, blah, blah. They get up and a bunch of Dornish men show up and ask him questions and whatnot. And a little fight ensues with Copper and Darnell. And it's a new cop buddy show.
His name is Cooper?
Is it Cooper or Copper? I thought it was Copper and Darnell.
It's Cooper.
Okay,
Cooper and Darnell.
Yeah. So they get to fighting, and the whole time, Dan, when Jamie's fighting, I'm like, use your other hand, dude. You totally block the sword, things like that. And then right at the end, what does he do? He catches the sword. I'm like, thank you.
And then he's like all shocked.
Right.
He's like all stunned. He's like, oh, hey, I can do this.
He's like, okay. Well, see, that's what I thought was going to happen. Like, I thought he was going to, like, hit the guy, block his sword and then hit the guy with his fake hand or something like that. Why does he not have... So he needs, like, a screw hand that he can, like, put different attachments on. And, like, if they're going to... Like before they get in the shit, he, like, puts on his bronze, like, fist.
He's like, he's like the goat from Red Riding Hood, Hoodwinked.
Oh, yeah.
He's prepared and has just all these different hands. For
I mean, to be honest, like when he finally got back to King's Landing, when Brienne finally brought him back, I thought that they were actually going to fashion him a sword. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally, doesn't fit this show at all. But I thought he was going to walk around with a sword on his hand and learn how to fight with it.
To set that up, they got ambushed that patrol was it looking for them?
Like I think so, because it talks about it later when the ship captain in the next part.
Yeah.
We get to the Dornish ladies, and we get to finally meet the Sand Snakes, which are all of Martell's daughters, which is it Martell or is it Tyrell? Martell. So you get Tien, Nymeria, I'm probably killing these in Obera, and these are three of the Sand Snakes that are well-trained fighters.
Oh, no, it was Tien and Krillin and Yamcha.
Well, there was one, it's N-Y-M, Nim, and then
Nim.
And Umbara and Tien.
Her full name is Nymeria. Okay. But they were calling her Nim. And then Obaria, and then Tien Shin. And then
Chaozu was over.
What's the other one? Anyway, so
but it was funny because so they actually had kidnapped the ship captain and had him buried in the sand. But I love that because that's how awesome Braun is, that he just knows people, and he just knows the world. And he said, how do you know the ship captain is not going to rat us out? And Jamie said, I paid him off, and it was a big heavy bag.
He's like, that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And sure
He's
enough,
like, they hate you.
Yeah, he
here.
sold him out, and I mean,
and then got planted.
So it looks like the Sand Snakes and Oberon's woman. What is her name? I can't think of her name. Anyway, sorry, we're butchering names again. They still plan to get Marcella and do something with her to kind of get revenge for their father's death.
Yeah.
So they all decide they're going to.
But why don't they? How come they don't just do it? Is it because
it's against the law?
I guess because Prince Oberon's brother.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head either.
Yeah, he just he said no, so I guess they have to.
Yeah.
I guess they have to be a little bit more sneaky about it. But
He said, "I'm not going to kill a little girl."
Yeah.
Well, that's just like Oberon said. We don't kill little girls in Dorne.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's they have to get by his because he's the king. Oberon's brother, and I'm sorry we're blanking on the name right now. I apologize. But he's the king, and they're kind of going against the king's wishes right now. So that could cause issue in Dorne coming up. So anyways, we go from there, and we get to Jorah Mormont, and we get to Tyrion, and he's humming and making all kinds of noise because he's gagged. So Mormont takes the gag off, and pretty much Tyrion comes to the realization that he is Jorah Mormont by his crest and everything else that he has on, and finds out that he is going to see Daenerys. And he just kind of makes the joke like, well, I was going to the same place. You didn't have to do this. I was on my way there.
He's like, damn it.
And George just gets it for and Tyrion's just poking him like, oh, she may kill me and give you blessings, and then she may kill you, and I'm okay. I don't know, but how's it feel to be banished from two different kingdoms? And then Jorah's like, and punch in the face, and just kind of punches Tyrion to shut him up.
Well, I did like that though, because we mentioned that too. We were like, well, we said it last week. Okay, so he got kidnapped. Jorah's going to take him to the queen, but he was going there anyway. And then I love that Tyrion said it's a waste of a good kidnapping because he was headed that way. So really, he's just helping him out.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yep. And yes, Tim, you are right in the chat. Tim said that the Sand Snakes are the only ones that know that the Lannister is there. That's true. They're the only one that know that Jaime's in the area. So, but they know Jaime's there. Everybody knows Marcella's there, and I think they want to take their actions against Marcella, not against Jaime. So we move from there to another awesome moment in the show, which is kind of the finale of the whole episode, which is pretty intense. So Daenerys and I put Grey Guy Knight until I found his name because I lost his name. Grey Guy Knight, Sir Barristan, are talking about Daenerys' family, and we go backstory again how Rhaegar used to walk the streets and sing and earn money, and he'd just give it away and things like that. The better sides of the Targaryens, not the bloodthirsty killers.
Dragon fire breathing.
The fire water that he had placed all through King's Landing to make it blow up when he died and all this stuff. And is it Illyrio? That's correct, right? I say his name right. Illyrio?
Who?
The one that comes up and tells her you have a council meeting or something like that to come back to the. I think it's Illyrio. The guy she's sleeping with.
Oh,
Daenerys. Yeah. Okay. She comes back and is talking to him, and this is where things get really intense. So you start seeing scenes of the Sons of the Harpy start moving through these darker tunnels as he's discussing this stuff about opening the fighting pits back up and trying to get her to change her mind on it. And she's standing strong with her stubborn ways. And all of a sudden, the Unsullied, a bunch of people get attacked in a bar area, pretty much. And it's the Sons of the Harpy starting to move through the city and start taking people out. Well, then you start seeing a few of the Unsullied getting attacked. Well, then Grey Worm and his patrol get jumped by a huge group of people. And they're battling it out, and Grey Worm's lost everybody around him, and he's dropping people. The fight scene was really good. I really enjoyed that. I thought the choreography was good.
It was just brutal. Like it wasn't it was just like a street fight, just a brutal.
Well, I mean, you saw he wasn't even using his spear. You know, he'd get the spear around the neck, and then he'd hold the blade and slide it down and kill him without stabbing him or things like that. You know, he was a really good fighter, and he's getting to the point where he's getting overwhelmed. And Sir Barristan's out in the streets and hears all the commotion going on. So Sir Barristan shows up, and we get to see Sir Barristan start throwing down, which he's a great knight and a great fighter. And that's why he was part of King's Landing, part of the King's Guard. And
wasn't he the head?
Yes, he was the main King's Guard, I think, at the time, or in charge of the King's Guard at the time. And they go through their battle, and Sir Barristan gets killed. And Grey Worm, I think, is dead too.
Pretty sure.
The amount of blood that was flowing from that dude, I would pretty much say
that's true. But in the books, there's some things that happen where if you think certain people are dead and they may not be, you don't know. So that's why I kind of just brushed that off a little bit. Like, well, Barristan's dead, but you didn't know if Grey Worm died. And then the scenes from the next episode, they showed Barristan laying there, but they didn't show Grey Worm, so that made me pause a little bit there.
Maybe.
Well, but it was a pretty intense fight. If you lose both those are two great characters, and I hate losing both those guys. But that's that intense moment right there at the end, there in Marine, where the Sons of the Harpy are going through and pretty much killing everything that Daenerys was trying to stop, pretty much. So
so the Sons of the Harpy though, they're not like a religious sect, right?
No, think of them as like the masters to the slaves, kind of. Like their own private army or their own cult thing within the masters. And they don't like that all the slaves have been released. And so they formed this group called Sons of the Harpies. That's the way I look at it. And I may be completely wrong.
Well, because I just felt like there was some parallels between the Sparrows and the Sons of the Harpy. I know that, and I know they're not related, but it just seemed like, well, you've got this one fanatical group going through a town and killing a bunch of people, but now over here you kind of have the same thing. I mean, their motives are different,
right?
But they're very similar.
Yeah. So that's why I think this episode was awesome, due to the fact that the tension in King's Landing is palpable. It is intense there, due to the fact that Marjorie is now getting to the point where she's on Tomlin hardcore, like, you do something, you're the king. Either go with your mom or you go with me, whatever you decide. And Mom's kind of taking the advantage there, and she's kind of let loose the Sparrows throughout the city to do whatever they want. And Tomlin's got to make a decision. There's no in-between anymore. He has to do something. And then you go back to Daenerys City, where she has been too stubborn through all her rules and things like that and doesn't really know how to rule. And all of a sudden you have an uprising that's happening there, and it's already started, and you've lost two of your major generals. Boom, right there, killed and dead. So that's why this became a huge episode, due to the fact that those two major plot points have just exploded big time. And that's what's causing this huge ruckus between these two towns. So the next episode, it really builds in the next one, for the simple fact that this is already going on. What is going to happen to Daenerys now that she only has Illyrio now to protect her?
Dario, it's Dario, not Illyrio.
Oh, Dario. I'm sorry. Illyrio was somebody. He's another guy. I'm sorry. Dario. He's the only protector for her now. Grey Worm's gone. Barristan's gone. Mormont's gone. She's only got Dario, and maybe some more of the Unsullied, but most of them are getting killed out in the streets right now. So that's just boiling over and just going to this major plot point. So I think it was at the end of this that caused everybody to get an uproar, because it's rolling straight into the next episode. What is going to happen there?
Yeah.
So with that, and then of course the Sparrows and the King over in King's Landing, they stopped that whole storyline right after Tomlin met with them, came back, dealt with Marjorie, and then that was all stopped. So you don't even know where that's going, because Tomlin has to make a decision there right now of what's going to happen there. So two major cities, huge outbreaks and riots and craziness. Yeah, that makes for a really good episode.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying, their motives are different, but there's definitely parallels between what's going on. And the same thing's happening in the West and the East. I mean, you've got two major cities on both sides of the world, and the same thing is happening at the same time.
Correct.
There's got to be something.
You still have the chess pieces moving around on all the other points. Because nobody cares that Tommen's the king. Nobody cares about that.
No.
He's going to get killed or something's going to happen to him. Nobody cares about that. Your major plot point people are all dealing with other things. Your two major cities are now becoming an uproar. And that's the thing. The trailer for this whole season was, we're for the Sparrows are supposedly for the common people, and Daenerys is for the common people. And now the common people are tired of being in between all these wars, and they're uprising in both of these. And so that's kind of what's happening right now.
Well, so I was thinking, so when Tommen, going back to Tommen and when he went to get his brother-in-law out, I can't remember. What's the name?
Jamie?
No, Marjorie's brother.
Loris.
Loris,
Sir
yeah.
Loris.
So he was going to, he's going to go get him out, and he was confronted by the sparrows. The sparrows stopped, wouldn't let him pass. Would they have done that with a different king, with an older king, like if it was still Robert Baratheon or pretty much anybody
Hell,
else?
if it was even if it was Cersei, would they?
Cersei or
no, I think somebody who had more clout would have done something different. Joffrey wouldn't have allowed that. As much as we hate Joffrey, yeah, he would have told his knights to kill every single one of them right there.
Well, no, I'm wondering if like Joffrey or Cersei or whoever, like somebody else would have gone up there if they would have went walking up there, if they'd have been like, oh, okay, go ahead.
Well, no, maybe Cersei. Cersei probably, due to the fact that she's the one that wanted the militant to be implemented back. So she's working with the High Sparrow right now, trying to get this going. And that is what's created the militant, which are now going through the city and cleansing the city of all its evilness. And they're they've put these guys with a task, and they know that the Gold Cloaks are not going to do anything because they have Cersei on their side. And you've put people into a point where they can do whatever they want. They're going to go a little bit crazy, and that's kind of what the Sparrows are doing right now. They've gone a little bit overboard. Yeah. They've gone huge with power.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and so they're kind of like bullies right now. And Tommen is he's not a simple kid. I don't say that. That's awful. He is a kind kid.
He's naive.
He's young, and he doesn't have the boldness of being the king. Joffrey was a terrible king, but he had balls. Balls to tell anybody what to do, as long as his guards were around. He would tell anybody.
Well, as long as he had a bunch of guys protecting.
If he was if he was in peril, he was a crying little girl. He was just he was running like a girl. But sorry, all the women that are watching the episode.
Wow,
he was running like someone who didn't run really well. So yeah, but Joffrey would have just said, "Kill them all right now. I don't care." And Cersei and Robert Baratheon, if he was still king, he would have rolled right through him. Ty wouldn't have cared if those guys stood in front of him. They don't care. Those guys carry a ton of clout with them. They're they're pretty prestigious, and they don't care about these punk little sparrows. But but Tommen isn't that attitude. He doesn't have that. So. But all in all, I thought it was a very awesome episode, and I thought it lived up to the hype. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
So going through it and talking about it, I see the appreciation for it above the other ones so far.
Yeah.
It's because it's not, there of course Barristan and Grey Worm, may or may not be dead. I think they both are, but
I think so too.
But you don't have to have a big shocking death. You don't have to have a red wedding or a purple wedding to make it a good episode. I just needed to talk it out because I just saw it as more chess pieces getting moved, but I just didn't really draw the parallels between, things are happening now and, power is shifting and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So now the first 3 episodes were building to these moments, and now it's kind of the explosion of that happening. It's like Jon Snow with Melisandre. He just exploded with love.
I think it was more of her grabbing his hand and putting it on her chest.
Yeah.
That's
Here,
okay. She could do that by
me.
I'm cool with that. So there you go. That's our episode. Anybody have any more thoughts? Anything?
No, I am looking forward to next week when Tyrion. I wonder if Tyrion's going to actually get to Daenerys next week because he does see one of the dragons.
Yeah, he sees that dragon fly over it. He sees that dragon fly over it. It looks like he pretty much craps himself.
Yeah, right. That's the big meetup that I'm waiting for. I mean,
Oh no, I am too. I think that'll be really, really good. I think that's gonna be awesome. But when Tyrion gets there, where is Daenerys? That's the kind of the question. The Sons of the Harpy are pretty much destroying the city right now. Yeah. So we will see. But
she also doesn't seem like she'd be one to like hide out. I mean, I think she will still be right there where she is. She'll be clinging on to Dario for dear life, but I don't think she'll be in hiding.
No, I don't think so either. Well, I mean, this is all happening down in lower streets, and it looks like the Sons of the Harpy have killed everybody that they've attacked. So no one knows that the attacks are going on, except if you're down on those areas.
Right.
Like Barristan didn't hear about it until he was walking down in that area. So she still doesn't know that's happening, but this riot is now exploding down there in her city, and she has no idea it's going on. So it's about to roll over into her area. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But anyways, we're at 40 minutes. I think that's pretty good.
Yep.
I think we all enjoyed the episode. Maybe I enjoyed it more, but that's okay.
Just like Avengers.
So we thank you guys for watching. Of course, you can come to our YouTube channel, watch us there. You can come to our Twitch, twitch.tv/nerdpunch. You can come to follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/nerdpunch, facebook.com/nerdpunch. All
Everything
that
slash
jazz.
Nerd Punch.
Yeah, we put our schedule, everything we're doing on Twitch, on YouTube, all that stuff should be there, or you can contact us through Twitter. We'll let you know. So until next time, bye.
See you guys. Thanks.
See ya.